Forbes Manhattan is a one-of-a-kind private merchant bank focused on the natural resource sector with a very successful track record identifying high-quality assets, then advancing them from discovery to production. With a world-class multidisciplined team of professionals and access to timely capital, Forbes and Manhattan have become asset builders, not stock traders. Their ability to develop projects and raise capital on time and on budget results in superior returns. Sit back and enjoy as we explain more about Forbes and Manhattan, highlighting our breadth of success stories. In 2005, Forbes and Manhattan acquired a shell from Ed Thompson called Consolidated Thompson. With an original market cap of $4 to $5 million, this shell contained an important iron ore asset.
And we had one big challenge. Nobody believed that a junior company could build a large iron ore mine, because most junior companies operated in copper and gold, but very few in iron ore. So for the next 5 years, we unlocked value of Consolidated Thompson. How did we do it? The first thing we did was bring a top-notch CEO, somebody who had been in the iron ore business. Then we put a team around him. Then we raised capital, initially $30 or $40 million, and over the next 3 to 4 years, raised more and more capital at higher prices through demonstrating that this project was technically successful.
In 2009, Forbes and Manhattan brought in a Chinese partner, the Wuhan Iron and Steel Group. They put up capital, got into the offtake, and as a result of that, the Forbes and Manhattan team were able to complete the project, raising Consolidated Thompson's production to 8 million tons of iron ore concentrate per year, and soon to be 16 million tons. Then, in April 2011, Consolidated Thompson was acquired by Cleveland-Cliffs Iron Company.
So to give you an idea of the success, we started this company at 25 cents a share, our investment, and the eventual selling price to Cleveland-Cliffs was $17.25. So it was a huge return over 6 or 7 years. But it's a good example on how you take an asset, put a management team, raise capital, unlock the value, and eventually take it to production until a major takes you out.
One of the first Forbes and Manhattan projects was Desert Sun Mining. The Jacobina mine, located in eastern Brazil, is a very large, low-grade gold resource.
Underground, nobody thought it could work. The grade was 2 grams per ton at a time when the price of gold was just pushing $400 an ounce.
Forbes and Manhattan applied their unique style to the project, installing their group of expert technical and managerial people on site.
Then we did proper studies, evaluated the project, brought the new Canadian technologies in, demonstrated how we could make money at 2 grams, and eventually started producing 100,000 ounces a year at a very attractive cash cost of below $300 an ounce.
Once Forbes and Manhattan hit their stride with Desert Sun, their initial investment at 20 cents per share for this asset had been properly incubated to then be sold to Yamana Gold for $735 million, with the stock trading at over $7 in 2006.
And today, if you held Yamana stock, your investment would be worth $10 a share. So the return on Desert Sun over the last 10 years has been phenomenal.
Formerly named Varina, Bela Sun Mining approached Forbes and Manhattan because the asset was not a focus of the current management.
Put in capital to buy 20% of the company, but we put the capital on the condition that the asset had to come into our shop. So brought it into Forbes in Manhattan, put our own CEO in, strengthened the board and the management team. Today, Bela Sun has hit a high of $1.40, $1.50 a share from 25 cents. We've got 11 drills turning at the site. We think it's going to be one of the bigger gold stories in Brazil over the next 2 to 3 years.
Bela Sun's current and primary focus is on expanding and completing a feasibility study on its 100% owned Volta Grande project in Pará State, which hosts the largest undeveloped gold project in Brazil, and it's getting much larger.
The answer is probably the very small is very important because of the synergies and the ability for a small mining company to be able to tap the expertise of a David Gower or a Stan Barty.
Bela Sun, for example, which languished at 20 cents more or less for a couple of years. We've probably got more drills on that property than they drilled holes. in the previous year at this point.
Of course, we've all seen the success of the first issue that was done under the new management team at 25 cents. The stock is currently about $1 above that. Has traded higher, but has held in very well even through a recent commodity cycle that hasn't been very strong. And so the success, again, right from the CEO down, you have street smarts, you have people on the ground like Helio on the geology side who really know what they're doing as far as operating the business.
And so another example on how a good asset, which was sort of undervalued, the market didn't understand it, previous management couldn't unlock the value, by bringing it into the Forbes shop, putting the right expertise, capital, technical expertise, and of course our base in Brazil is a very important factor. We have by far the single largest country we've invested in outside North America is Brazil, and so we were able to mobilize one of the best technical teams right away to put on this project.
Next in line is the Avion Gold Corporation. The company holds 80% of the Tabakoto and Sagala gold projects in Mali, West Africa. Additionally, a new 1,600 square kilometer exploration property in Burkina Faso is expected to return good results from an ongoing drill program. The longer-term goal of the company is to ramp production to a 200,000-ounce run rate in 2012.
Avion is a good example because Avion is an example of a company that in Mali, the asset was great. Previous owners had spent $200 million on it, couldn't make the asset work. We bought it for $20 million in the spring of 2008. And then we started, again, put a good management team together, brought a great VP exploration, a CEO, an operating guy, and over the next 24 months demonstrated to the street that the asset could work.
And West Africa is really going places as far as mining is concerned. And I'm very pleased that through Avion, we've been doing so very well. It is one of the best stories we have right now in the Forbes Manhattan group because we're already in production. We think we'll be able to double production next year. And the relationships we've developed with the government of Mali are just very good.
But when you get a fully permitted plant, over 1 million ounces in the ground in a country like Mali, which is stable, the second largest gold producer in Africa. So we spent 2 years unlocking the value. Today, Avion is doing 100,000 ounces a year. It's going to go to 200,000 ounces. And it has $1 billion market cap, and we think it's going to go much higher. So it's a good example on how the technical expertise of Forbes, together with the capital and the management, can unlock value in an asset that someone else couldn't unlock or make work.
Forbes Manhattan, to me, the one phrase I love using to explain it is it's a merchant bank, but that likes to do things. In this group, we don't just promote them, we also do them for real. That's cool when you can say that.
You're absolutely right. I don't think there is another group that is quite like this.
People do well at Forbes, and the people do well in the marketplace actually try to think laterally. They think outside the box. They're not pigeonholed in the traditional thinking of what made money in the market in the previous 2 or 5 years.
It's the breadth of experience within this group that interacts very successfully to create some real value for shareholders.
My personal thing is it's an open platform. And so basically, if you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the connections, and you can play a major roles there. But working in this organization, I feel like very easy, very free. Yeah.
Forbes Manhattan is a dynamic group of companies. They have both the people, the projects, and the infrastructure to aggressively take advantage of opportunities that they see in the resource space. They rival any of the other major mining companies in the world.
As a group, again, we can act like a major corporation, but move a lot quicker.
We get them to work together, and we facilitate cooperation between them. Just in Toronto, we have 200 people, but we have north of 70 technical people, geologists, mining engineers. So de facto, these companies work in an environment that is comparable to Barrick, Goldcorp, without really the big overheads.
We can essentially punch a lot higher than our weight class.
One of the other things that we did at Forbes in Manhattan is we said, we go in high-risk countries, sometimes in Africa. Some of these countries are politically risky, economically, infrastructure challenged, and clearly you need good connections in these countries to open doors and to work. So we created an advisory board of some of the most iconic, I think, members. Larry King is on the advisory board.
Hi, it's Larry King. I am so proud to be one of the advisors for Stan Barty and Forbes in Manhattan, Inc. What a great company this is. So along with a great group of advisors, I'm, as I said, proud to be part of this group in which we travel. I introduce them to people because our show has been seen around the world for 25 years, so we get pretty well known. The whole name of the game is contacts. I provide the contacts, Stan does the close, equals success. So again, to be an advisor with Forbes in Manhattan is great for me and hopefully great for them. Great to be aboard.
General Jay Garner, who was the leading administrator in Iraq after the Americans went there in 2003, he's on the advisory board. General John Abizaid, who was a four-star general, retired, who was head of the U.S. military base in the Middle East, is on the advisory board. Pierre Pettigrew, who was Minister of Foreign Affairs, is on the advisory board.
I like to see myself as a sort of ambassador at large for the Forbes in Manhattan group and its companies, so that whenever they have a need in any foreign country, mines and oil blocks happen to be sometimes in challenging countries. I love contributing to resolving and facilitating some issues for Forbes in Manhattan companies in these challenging countries.
So we have an iconic advisory board, and what they do is they help us open doors and make sure when we go into emerging markets that we're well connected, that we talk to the top people, we have access to them at the highest possible levels, and also we can make sure the project is protected. So I tell people we don't have political insurance, we have our advisory board. The basic premise of Forbes in Manhattan is that we are in a bull cycle in commodities, in energy, in gold, in agriculture, and all the hard assets. And this is a super cycle, and these super cycles last 20, 30 years.
The advantage, I personally believe, the stance has a vision. The vision is he move forward, always think, ahead of the time.
I could go on. He's seen value in assets that were not managed well and cast aside by previous gold companies.
The other point I think I would make is there's a high degree of loyalty within the group.
Forbes is, when I started, we had a corner office on this very floor with maybe 4 people. Today we've got almost 200 people just in Toronto. Then we've got offices in Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal, obviously in the US, Europe, and all over Africa, South America. So it's a large organization.
So as you can see, a big part of Forbes Manhattan is the people.
And the point I'm trying to make is that mining is about the people. These assets will not create value by themselves.
Yeah, Forbes in Manhattan to me is not only a merchant bank, but a great group of people that allows oneself to maximize its own value and potential.
The challenge for junior companies is very often that they don't have the appropriate resources to develop a good assets.
It's a very key point for Forbes that we're not stock traders, we're asset builders. We only invest in deals that we're actively involved in. We're not passive investors, we're active investors, we're hands-on investors.
And this is why the success average of our companies is a lot higher than anywhere else.
For more information on Forbes in Manhattan or any of the companies under its umbrella, please visit ForbesManhattan.com.